men and women for others who that Jesuit education calls us to be, right? The men for others is from Father Pedro Rupe, who talks all about in that same letter where we get the men for others slogan, that young people who are coming out of Jesuit education have to know how to work for justice in the world. And so honing those skills of analysis and reflection is really also a part of what we do. And then connecting whatever faith tradition you come from or intellectual tradition, the needs of your community, the needs of your family, helping you bring all that together in ongoing discernment about what service looks like in the world for you.
Awesome. Very well put. Service, justice, and campus ministry is such an important cornerstone to everything that we do at Jesuit. And we have great leaders in all opportunities. Paul, I'm going to kick it to you first. And you mentioned retreats. So coming in as a freshman, could you walk us through the retreat opportunities? I always found it was a great time to not only make friends and make brothers and kind of deepen your relationship with the other students on campus, but it was also a great opportunity to, hone in on your true self and who, slowly walking towards what it means to be a man for others. Can you speak to the retreat opportunities?
Yes, starting a freshman year, we start with the freshmen, all of you who are coming in next year. We start with you meeting a big brother, a senior who will take you under his wings and then lead you through the freshman year. We have orientation is very well done with the seniors helping you out. And then it goes into the freshman overnight retreat where we start early in the morning, not too early, 9 a.m. And it goes through Sunday at noon. We spend the night in the gym on campus. There's a lot of really fun activities that you do, and your big brother leads you through that. Sophomore year, we talk about what it means to be the person God intends for you to be. Junior year, we go a little bit deeper in terms of how our choices, the choices we're making, how they are in line with our faith or not in line, and how we can get those back on track. And then senior year, we have a 4-day retreat called Kairos, means the Lord's time. We don't expect any of you to enter Jesuit high school with this huge, incredible faith experience or service experience, or that coming into freshman year that you'll have it all figured out. We want it to be a 4-year journey where after 4 years you can leave knowing more about the person God calls you to be, how you can act for justice, how you can advocate for those who are voiceless, to be their voice, to be their heart. To let God's heart and imagination become a part of who you are. And then through the 4 years of retreats and the 4 years of service and just your growing as a man for others, hopefully you'll find a deeper relationship with God, with the Creator. And again, no matter, and Miss Brabec said it beautifully, no matter what faith tradition you come into Jesuit with, of course we're a Catholic school. But no matter what faith tradition you come in with, we want you to grow in that tradition. We want you to grow into a deeper relationship with your Creator, whatever that might be, and we'll help you along the way, hopefully become that person.
Awesome. I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm going to kick it over to Sara now. Service. I remember my time here, and we have Chris Marshall on here as well from the class of 2003 and 2005, respectively. Service, not only an opportunity in this loud world to really, be less selfish and more selfless, and to connect with your brothers in doing good service in the world, make this world a better place. What's the importance of service as it pertains to the Jesuit experience and just overall in service to the greater good of the world and kind of the ethos of Jesuit teaching?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for us, service is has a couple of meanings, right? So first we look to the gospel, right? And we look to scripture and we look at who Jesus spent time with and where God seemed to show up throughout the stories of salvation history. And God seems to have a special preference, a special time spent with people who are at the margins, who are outcast. And so we as a Catholic school, as a Jesuit school, invite students to emulate that response to people who are at the margins. And so to go and be with them if for nothing else, then for the reason that that's where God seems to think it's important to be, and see what we might learn there. But also importantly, our Jesuit education, and I'm also the product of Jesuit education. I went to a Jesuit high school, university, and did my graduate studies at a Jesuit school as well. So I speak as someone who has also gone through this. Our Jesuit education is not just for us, right? It's not just for, while we certainly want you to go on to a great university of your choosing, that's not all that this is about. This is about forming you as this person who is following the footsteps of Jesus, and responding to the needs of the community, and using your gifts that you do have, whatever they end up being, whatever you end up discovering about yourself and your gifts and your passions and the needs of the world, taking that and putting it at the service of where those things intersect. And so that's what service is. It's like a way to explore those gifts that you have and the needs in the community, and find where you can put those at the greatest service of God.
Awesome. And just to echo that, it's a great, like I spoke in the last session, we have students coming from all over, and it's these moments of retreat and service that you start to build those deeper bonds with these students that you're with. We talk about the brotherhood a lot, and it really is these deeper connections with friends that are there for in the good times and the bad times throughout your life. You start to make deeper connections with guys you can count on. That's one of the biggest takeaways that I sure had at Jesuit High School, and I know a lot other have.
Matthew,
Chris, yeah,
freshmen.
shoot.
Yeah, so
Go.
with the freshmen especially, we're mindful that people are coming from all over, from the Sacramento metro region, right? We draw from, all the way Davis up to the foothills and beyond. And we really see that need for helping freshmen build community. And so with our freshman service program, we, in non-COVID times, right? And even right now, we're finding a hybrid way to do this, but we put you into small groups within your theology class, and send students out in groups to do service with each other, so that you do have a positive experience of service that we set up for you at a really great organization where you could return to in the future, but that you also go with your classmates and get to build relationships with your classmates, and also the teacher or faculty person, staff person who goes with you, so that kind of community building is something that's really important for us as well. So I just wanted to add that about how the freshman programming looks.
And I just wanted to follow up as well on things that Sara and Paul said about strengthening your faith. And as someone who came from a public school, who was raised Lutheran, and was able to be a part of everything that we were doing on campus as well, I was able to participate in the masses as part of the choir. I was able to go on the junior Kairos, and then eventually go on to be a Kairos leader my senior year, and being able to be a part of the community and strengthen my faith, and not be intimidated by any of the retreats or anything coming from public school, and as well as not being Catholic. And I think that, Paul again spoke to it. It's strengthening your faith, and whatever faith you come in with, you're welcome, and we're excited to have you. And it was a wonderful experience for me.
Awesome. That's exactly right. Same experience, coming from Davis in a public school, and really just understanding what faith and spirituality meant to me, and exploring that and deepening that throughout my 4 years. Paul, I kick it back over to you. Just off the top of my head, being involved in campus ministry, senior retreat team comes to mind. That's a couple of years away, but that's an awesome opportunity. Big Brother program you touched on, what that means for the freshman class, and then campus ministry and being involved in our liturgies. What are the different opportunities to be involved in faith on campus?
So in our pre-COVID-19 liturgies, we have a class mass for freshmen. We have a class mass for every grade level twice a year. And for those class masses, we involve the class. So Miss Heine does a phenomenal job with choir, and Mr. Rolanka, and she puts together a freshman choir for the freshman class mass, and for the sophomore class mass, and so on. and the freshmen pick the music. And by the time junior class mass rolls around, the juniors are arguing over what songs they want to sing because they have their favorites already picked out. We're trying to get more people involved in liturgy itself. You'll find that one of our freshman theology teachers, Father Petrich, is very much wanting to get young people involved at all grade levels, right? But again, I think that a lot of young men, when you enter Jesuit, you have an idea that you want to be involved or not want to be involved. And I would probably say, Chris, maybe I'm just gonna guess, when Chris entered Jesuit high school, he was gonna play soccer. Matt as well, right? You guys were soccer players. And I'm guessing that becoming a member of the senior retreat team and or becoming a Kairos leader was the last thing on your mind, that you had no thought that you'd do that. And then come senior year, you go on Kairos, you have a great service experience, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I can do this. I want to be a part of this. And then you become a Kairos leader, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can lead, and faith can be a big part of my life, and I can grow in who God wants me to be. But it's hard at first. You know, you're a freshman coming in going, I don't know what I want to do. And then by senior year, you're sitting there going, God, I want to be on the advocacy team, or I want to be, or junior year, you're saying, hey, I want to make a change in this way. And even, you know, starting clubs with faith dimensions in them. We're open to anything. If you have an interest in doing something, we'll make it happen. Miss Brabec has some great stuff she started with young people that just want to get more involved. And so the more you come forward saying, hey, I want to do this, you're going to do it. We're going to get you involved. Does that answer your question, Matt?
It sure does. And the second part of that is the brotherhood starts early and strong through big brothers. And you briefly touched on it, but again, coming from different zip codes and different schools, and maybe being just the one student coming from an opportunity, what is the relationship between a big brother and our freshmen coming in, and then the senior retreat team? I mean, it's just, it's amazing to see these young men grow into that, and then wanting to lead the next generation through. I think it's this cyclical, like the leadership of our students and the growth in there. And yeah, getting to see, exactly right. I think Chris would agree, is that, you know, Kairos was such a wonderful experience that we don't want to give away what it is, but wanting to lead that, you know, and not only just participate, but to lead. Can you speak to the Big Brother program and the relationship built in there, and just the leadership that the students show kind of as they come through Jesuit?
Junior year, we invite juniors to become part of a ground crew for freshmen overnight, and they pick up garbage and they make sure food is put out. Of course, I'm sure all of you freshmen who are on right now, or all of you 8th graders, 7th graders, that food does not play a big part of your life. But when we do retreats, we make sure you have plenty of good food. And then the seniors, they take it upon themselves. There's nothing they gain to be a big brother. They just want to do it to make the brotherhood stronger, to be, just be a part, to be a mentor, to be a friend. There's a number of big brothers that have stayed in touch with their little brothers well after high school, well into college. And so again, we hope you click with your big brother. We hope you and your big brother are able to form a relationship. And it's someone that you can turn to. Probably that's the biggest part. For parents, if you're struggling and have questions, you can call the big brother.
Awesome.
I
don't know if we lost Paul.
I
Paul froze up a little bit. Let's go. Take it away.
Yeah. And I mean, I think all of that's true. I was very close with my big brother, and you know, I had the opportunity when I was a big brother to remain close with my little brothers. And ultimately, one of my little brothers didn't finish at Jesuit, but we were still in contact when I was in Los Angeles. We still had dinner. We still spoke, and so the bond is very tight. And, you know, you look after your little brothers, just like my big brother looked after me. And it was something that was very rewarding, and has created some lifelong friendships. And, you know, like Paul mentioned, you know, Matthew and I both played soccer, and I played two varsity sports at Jesuit. And it didn't affect my ability to be involved in service and in campus ministry. It's encouraged to do both and to do all that you can. So it's certainly not an either or thing. You can be involved in athletics as well as campus ministry and have some really rewarding times.
If you tuned in, I tuned into a little bit of the previous talk, and Mr. Kelly said it beautifully. And what he said was, if you come to Jesuit and you're there from 8 to 3, and that's all you do, you're really missing out on some great opportunities. I saw one question is there singing involved in the liturgies? Absolutely. We actually have a liturgy class where they sing, they learn liturgical music and why it's so important to lead music and prayer and all that. And I just think that if you're going to get involved, I think Chris just said it very well. We don't want you just to come for academics at Jesuit High School. I'll be selfish. We want you super involved in campus ministry, and I'm sure Miss Brabec would say we want you super involved in justice and ministry. You know, we want you involved, and we want you to play a sport or to be in drama and to be a leader and to be a senior retreat team leader and play 2 varsity sports, whatever it might be. To be the head of the robotics team and the broadcast team and the plank and be a senior retreat team leader. You're going to be very busy if you do all those things, but we want to give you opportunity. We want you to explore and imagine yourself doing different stuff. And in campus ministry, we want to imagine you going to college or wherever your next phase of life takes you and being a leader in the church, whatever church that is. I'm getting old. I need young people. I need you all to take over and make our churches better wherever it might be where you go. So that, yeah, does that answer? You know, I think we want you to lead, you to take over.
That answer, it's we've talked about it a lot in opportunity. Like, you come in as a freshman. I think back to when I was a freshman, and again, coming from Davis and the unknowns of coming to Jesuit and the unique experiences there. But it's finding your way. And maybe it doesn't happen the first week of freshman year. Maybe it happens like it's whether you're on the soccer team and you're involved, or you're part of the robotics team, or you're in the ski and surf or surf club, or you're involved in campus ministry, or just in the classroom. You start to make these connections that kind of intertwine, and the supports for, our guys that are in drama, that are also athletes, that are in campus ministry, that are also on the cybersecurity team. It's just like, you find these avenues, and Jesuit does a wonderful job. And I just nod my hat to Sara and Paul for the opportunities to connect students to other students, and to have an environment where you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, your relationships can be a little bit stronger. That is just a unique thing to Jesuit that I'm so proud to say that we're a part of that. I'm a part of that. We're a part of that. I want to kick it back over to Sara. Service and service opportunities, and how requirements, for service opportunities kind of go up, and specifically, ending in immersions. I don't know if that's your forte is the immersion trips, but what the opportunities are as you go through your years to get involved. What does that kind of look like?
Sure. So I spoke briefly about what that freshman requirement looks like. So there's a day during the semester where you're out engaged in service with whatever your theology class is. So your service requirement freshman year just coincides with the semester you take theology. And then after you do that bit of service together as a class, you're invited and expected to do 3 more hours of service on your own. But we provide those resources for all of our years of service. There are agencies that we already know, that we recommend, that we have relationships with, that we provide you all of the contact information for. And then you're also invited to propose other places. Students always have ideas and relationships and things that they're curious about. And so we just work with you to make sure that whatever that is meets, is aligning with our program goals and is helping you grow in the ways that we've promised will help you to grow. So sophomore and junior year, you're then a little bit more on your own, right? In an appropriate, developmentally appropriate way. You have almost an entire calendar year. So as soon as freshman year ends, you can start working on your sophomore service. As soon as sophomore year ends, you can start working on your junior service. And those requirements have shifted around a little bit in terms of numbers. So I don't want to give you a number right now that could very well change by the time you're sophomores and juniors, where everyone is in a moment of adapting and flexibility given the realities of COVID. Though this year, I would say we've moved a lot of our programming, found ways to do virtual service opportunities, engage people through writing, find ways for students to explore environmental justice issues from home, connect online, right? Lots of creativity. And then traditionally, senior year, or between junior and senior year, so as rising seniors, we have a couple of ways that students engage in their senior service requirement. And they can do, we have an independent study course that students can do over the summer, where you design your own service, kind of like sophomore and junior year, but you commit to one agency. We also have our immersion program, where we work with a number of agencies around the country and a couple internationally, and then some local camps that work with young adults, young people and young adults and older adults with developmental disabilities. So those are week-long experiences, overnight experiences away from home. And then we also have a course during the school year, a one-semester course where students go out during the school day. It's the only course that allows students to leave campus during the school day. So it's kind of a coveted experience. We arrange carpools, help everyone figure out the logistics, and you go and serve twice a week at the agency that we help you get assigned to. And you serve there during the school day. So that could be at a school with kids with developmental needs, or at Loaves and Fishes in their welcome center, or at the school, Mustard Seed School at Loaves and Fishes, right? So lots of different places where we're responding to the needs of the community. So that's in a nutshell what the 4 years of service look like, each year of which is a graduation requirement, and you receive a grade for pass fail. And then we have other opportunities for you to be involved if you're just interested. Every year we have a summit on human dignity with a different topic that students help choose. We have a team of students who helps plan that. So we have about 25 students this year who are helping plan that event that's taking place in March. This coming week is the Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice, which is a national gathering of students from Jesuit high schools and universities, and then parishes as well. It usually takes place in Washington, D.C. This year it's taking place online. There are up to 6,000 people who are attending. It's a conference, right? So it's just like any professional conference you would go to. You get to pick your sessions that you attend. And then we have a number of other leadership summit opportunities, and then clubs that students form based on their own interests. So we have an advocacy club that students chose to start up a few years ago, advocating for issues of concern in Catholic social teaching at the local level and at the state level and at the federal level. So just kind of exploring all of those different options.
Awesome. A lot of different options, and it's service and justice. I think appropriately so is broadening the opportunities to not only to serve the greater community, make this world a better place, but to learn and have discussions and understand more about the world that we're living in. And so that's just skimming the surface about the wonderful opportunities to get involved here. As it's 12:27 and we're kind of wrapping up, if there's any questions that anybody has, feel free to ask them here. But I would just say, Paul, Sarah, Paul first, anything to leave our families with as we start the admissions season and we're considering that high school transition and the next step?
I think I would just leave with two real quick stories about people. One is a young man who came to Jesuit, and I don't think service was on his radar or ministry. Really great family. Got involved in sharing God's bounty at St. Philomene's. I know some of you from St. Philomene's went through the drive-through yesterday. And then by the time he became a senior, he was a shift leader. He was in charge of volunteers one Tuesday, or I think every Tuesday night. And he made it part of who he was. And then to go into ministry and retreat leadership. The number of young men with COVID-19 and us having to postpone some overnight stuff that we do, the number of young men that I'm getting that are out of college or in professions saying, hey, Mr. LeBoeuf, I'll come back and be a student leader for Kairos when we start back up. And I'm like, you're 34 years old. You're not a student leader anymore. And they're like, but that's okay. I have my talk. To see people still engaged, to know there was a wedding this past week where the 5 people in the wedding party were the 5 friends that were all hanging out together. And then I think that the bonds just continue. There's a group of young men that I play fantasy football with from the class of 2000, and now they all have children, and we all talk about when they're going to start Jesuit high school. So I think the bonds are really strong. I think the bonds start freshman year right away. Whether you play a sport, you're involved in a club, or you just go on freshman overnight. And then from there, I think it just gets deeper and deeper. And again, I think that if you come to Jesuit, it costs a lot of money. And so we want to make sure that you get involved and you see every aspect of who you can become. And my hope is that your faith grows and who you are as a person, a child of God, grows.
Yeah, that's well said, Mr. LeBoeuf. And I would just add, we really want to get to know you and who you are, and who your families are, and what matters to you, and what you love, and what your gifts are, and how those can be a gift to the world, because you already are that. And so we just want to help you refine that vision, and discern in the long term what that looks like. And I would also just say, right, there's a lot of, understandably, like, this language around getting involved. I remember my own high school experience. I didn't really get involved much until like my junior year. And there were some good reasons for that, right? And so I would also just add that if you're feeling overwhelmed, or you really want to come to Jesuit, but like that feels like the academics will be enough, right? It's okay. We'll still be here for you your junior year, your senior year, your sophomore year, whenever it is that you're ready. We're ready for you, and we want to get to know you.
Well put all around. I think just a key aspect of the Jesuit education is what we got right here, is about the deepening bonds and that brotherhood we always talk about. Having experienced it myself, and having gotten married a year and a half ago, and having all my groomsmen were my Jesuit guys. They're the guys that, yeah, I had a career after college and went to a great college, but the guys that I want to stand up next to me when I was making that big leap were my Jesuit brothers. Some of them in my Kairos group, and now I have a 3-month-old son, Ralph, and I'm excited for him to experience all of these wonderful things that Jesuit has to offer in 13 years or however long that takes. But I'd like to take the moment to say thank you to Mr. LeBoeuf and Ms. Brabec. It's 12:31. Our next session coming up at 1 p.m. is going to be with talking about athletics with Hank Weinberger, our athletic director. So we have the same Zoom link. So stay in, go grab a drink of water, but we'll be starting back up at 1 p.m. Thank you guys for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again in a bit. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend, you guys. Chris,
You too.
Sarah, awesome.